on Agile and Scrum methodologies and frameworks. What we're going to do today is we will present to you something that we've quickly put together as what Scrum is all about, why we need Agile and Scrum in today's IT industry, who is the right candidate to learn and take benefits from such concepts, frameworks, and methodologies, what we expect as prerequisites from each participant who has to get into the space, what the career opportunities are, and finally we look at what we are trying to cover as part of our training. I have with me Shivaraman, who's got a lot of experience in this area, both from project-wise and also from a training perspective. So Shivaraman, the stage is all yours. Welcome. Please do start with a quick introduction, and then we are on with the slide 3.
Okay. I am Muthukrishna Shivaraman. As Karthik told, I have a very long industry experience working in various projects, including Agile and Scrum. I have around 25 years experience in the industry, and I have done a lot of training for this topic, Agile and Scrum, as a corporate training as well as the virtual training, and I do a lot of other trainings also. So that now we will go into the topics, so that already we spend some time on this. Okay, now we are starting with, this is the agenda as already Karthik has explained that, and then we are going to start now. What is the Scrum? What is Agile? That is what I am going to start with the introduction of Agile. See, the Agile methods or the Agile is a kind of a thought process. That is what very critical about Agile, and this thought process is the culmination of major thought streams as mentioned here. It talks about the business, it is about organizational and leadership agility, and complex adaptive system theory actually, and then the fast cycle time software development. These are the 3 critical points of Agile as of today. Therefore, it talks about the business. Today, everything IT, the system development, software development, everything works on the business side, and this is the ability of organizations to be adapt to rapidly changing the market needs. This is what very critical point or a basic point of agility. Agility is a thinking, okay, and it is not a kind of a framework, or it is not a kind of a process. It is beyond that, the thinking and thought process at the organization level, and that is what the Agile experts talks about. This Agile is not a kind of a change to the existing waterfall model or traditional other software development lifecycle model. It is a kind of a transformation. The word transformation is again underlined. Therefore, this is not just a change. This Agile is a kind of a transformation. Okay, transformation for what? To address the changing market needs or the market trends. Okay, and then this notion can be used for development of a IT project or IT product or even IT service. Okay, all these 3 areas can be addressed using the Agile methods or Agile thinking. And fast cycle time, this is another area. Today, everything has to be done very fast, especially software development has to be done very faster way, and this is actually a challenge to the software industry as such. Therefore, that challenge is addressed by using this Agile methodology. That's what it is. A rapid, it is a collaborative. That is again word collaborative. It is a teamwork. This Agile methodology talks about the teamwork, and what is a team, what we are going to see as we go along, as we move along further. Therefore, this collaborative is a key word for application development, and I like to share one of the experience. Very recently, I was doing a Scrum training for one of a corporate in India, and what was it? I was just putting a question to them: what is a challenge for your software development as such in your organization? And the team was about test leads, test engineers, and project leads. Even there were some project managers, and the The point what they were telling about is the requirement is not clear. The requirement is not proper. That is why we are having a lot of challenge in our development. This was the this is what has been identified for the challenge for the software development life cycle. But this challenge is not only for them. Everybody, even I was also working in the industry, or sometime before, I used to tell the same thing, like from the technical side, the requirement is not clear. The business requirement is not proper. Business requirement is not clear. This is one of the problems everybody reported in the software development team. But today, this challenge has been addressed by this agile methodology, by the collaborative. What is the collaborative? As we talk in the next slide about a Scrum, I'm going to address this problem. How this problem is addressed using this agile methodology. That is what I'm going to talk in the next slide. Okay. See, what is Scrum?
Let me get to the next slide, please. Give me a second.
Yeah.
So we're talking about this slide. What is Scrum and Agile as an introduction? There you go.
Introduction. Yeah, correct. Management framework. That is it. Okay. Now, see, we talked about Agile in the previous slide. Now we are going to talk about the Scrum. What is Scrum? Scrum is a kind of a framework. Actually, it is a management framework. And what is the framework contains? It contains incremental product development using one or more cross-functional self-organizing teams of about 7 people each. It provides a structure of roles, meetings, rules, and artifacts. This is very, very important again. Like as I was telling previously, the requirement is not clear. That is one of the challenges for the software development. Okay, that is addressed by here, working with collaborative, cross-functional, self-organizing teams, about 7 people each. Therefore, what I am talking about the Scrum framework. This framework works on incremental product development. That is called as a sprint in the term actually. And what is a sprint? It is nothing but a kind of incremental iteration. And what is a sprint contains? What is the role? It is a cross-functional. The team is cross-functional. Why it is called cross-functional? See, the team is not having only the developers or only testers. The team is led by a product owner. Who is the product owner? He is from the business analyst side. Therefore, what I was telling in the beginning, the problem of the challenge of software development lifecycle was requirement is not clear. That problem is addressed making a product owner who is from the business side to lead the sprints or lead the Scrum team. Therefore, now he is going to become owner. His role is defined as a product owner in Scrum. Therefore, the product owner leads the team. Okay, the team is working with the product owner. They interact collaboratively. There is no kind of a team leader. There is no kind of a manager. There is no kind of a command and control here. Everybody is working in the team. Okay, that is what it provides a structure of roles, meetings, and there are a lot of rules are there and a lot of artifacts are there. Okay, teams are responsible for creating and adapting their process within their framework. Team is responsible for all their activities, for all their tasks. And Scrum uses fixed length iteration. Yeah, this is again very important framework for the Scrum. It uses the fixed length iteration. What I mean, every sprint, every iteration is called as a sprint. That is a sprint is a term used in the Scrum. But what is a sprint? It is a fixed length duration. Means every sprint should be of equal length, and that length is also defined as a 2 weeks, 30 days long. Okay, therefore sprint size is size is defined here, and the sprint duration is defined here. These are the rules. Scrum teams build potentially shippable product. This is again very, very important. Each iteration should deliver a potentially shippable product. Whatever comes as a delivery from the iteration, it should be potentially shippable. What it means, you should give a meaningful output, meaningful product, or meaningful service for the business. Okay, that is what the Scrum is attempt to build. And then this is an alternative to waterfall. Previously, if you talk about the software development model, very popular model or very traditional model, even today also many organizations may be implementing that. That is called waterfall. In the waterfall, this is a change to the waterfall. This Scrum is a kind of alternative to waterfall. Scrum's incremental iterative approach trades the traditional phases of waterfall development for the ability to develop and subset of high value feature first, incorporating feedback sooner. See, this is what like alternative. Why it is alternative? See, in the waterfall model, the process is longer, the duration is longer, the team is big, and this gives a lot of challenge for the development. Means like if you take a project of 6 months duration or 8 months duration, that is what the waterfall model is used, a longer duration project. Therefore, when the project starts and when the project ends, the period is longer. Therefore, that gives a problem of change management. And the today not only that, today if you see the business requirements is all what you call incremental, and therefore now if you see the traditional development and today's current development scenarios has been changed. Current development, the business or the market derives the current development process, and the current development has to give the result in a quicker way. Okay, that is why this waterfall model is not able to make is not able to address today's challenges of fast delivery life cycle. Okay, therefore that is what this Scrum has come into play. And what is actually Scrum is the term is borrowed from the sports of rugby. When you talk about the sports, what are the two important things? It is a time boxing. See, if you take any game or any sport, has to be completed within the given time frame. Or suppose if we talk about the cricket, it has to be completed within the given overs. Okay, therefore this way it is a time box. Therefore that time boxing concept is very critical for the Scrum. That is why the durations of each sprint is of 30 days long. Maximum it can be 30 days long. Therefore the duration is fixed. And again the team spirit. If you talk about the any sport like the sport, every team member has a role to play, and the success or failure depending on each and every team member. It is not a kind of a leadership, or it is kind of not a kind of a manager role played in that. The team is working and team is getting the result of that. Therefore, the success or failure are done by the team. Therefore, that also gives a kind of a responsibility to the team to achieve their task. Even the estimation is done by the team. The team is responsible to give the estimation for the task. As we go along in the training, we are going to see how this process is done in the case of story points, in the case of user stories, how the estimation is done, how this planning is done. There are a lot of, actually in the Scrum, we do planning at 5 levels. Actually, starting from the high level strategy planning to the sprint planning. Okay. Therefore, now then comes like, that is what about Scrum. Then the importance of Agile and Scrum for IT industry. How it is important? Of course, I already addressed a lot of importance to the IT industry. It improves efficiency, because why? How it improves efficiency? It works in smaller team. The time limit is given, and every sprint is going to give a result. Okay. Therefore, now we are able to control the output of the software development life cycle. If you compare the previous waterfall model, where you had a very long time, very long team, and you are taking longer time to see the result. Not only longer time, there everything is done in multiple phases. For example, testing. Testing has to wait for the development. Okay, here there is no waiting time. The teams are working together. Even development and testing is done together, and they are working together. In that way, improves the efficiency. And there is a collaborative. As I told you, the product owner is the leader of the, not actually leader, he is the owner of the team. Therefore, now the product owner is going to interact with the development or a testing team interactively through daily stand-up meeting. Therefore, it improves the efficiency. The wastage is avoided. That is why it is actually called a lean method. So you're not wasting time in the meeting or making documentation or interaction, all those things. It takes to face, and there are a lot of tools are available in the Scrum, and using the tools, it is done efficiently during this daily stand-up meeting. okay? And then dynamic, that's what like incremental iteration, dynamic. It is the work is done in a very effective way in a given time. Every iteration should give a defined result, okay? That is what dynamic work environment, and supports quick changes and to the application and releases. As I told you, like again, this incremental iteration helps us to adopt the changes. How the changes are done, there is a process, and how it is affected. We are going to a kind of a retrospective meeting at the end of each sprint. When you do a retrospective, we are going to address the lessons learned and what are the changes, how to incorporate the changes, all those things like has to be, there is a process, okay? Therefore, it supports quick changes with a deliverable result. And teamwork, as I told you, like the collaborative team, that is what very critical here. The team is working together. Actually, like in this Scrum, there are only 3 roles are there. One is a Scrum Master, another one is a product owner, third is a team. There is no role like as a developer or a tester or architect. Everybody is there, but everybody is called as a team. There is no different responsibility is given. Okay, you are a developer, you are a tester, you are an architect, and everything like that. Okay, therefore that is a team. The team is working together to give the result. The estimation is given by the team. The tasks are identified by the team. They are working, and then they are giving the result. Okay, therefore that teamwork, the collaborative teamwork is a key aspect for this Agile and Scrum, and that is a very big change for the IT industry, and that has given a lot of results. That is why the organization like Salesforce.com is a pioneer in this Agile methods, Yahoo.com and Google and IBM. These are organizations already doing enterprise-wise Agile projects. What is enterprise-wise Agile? That is a different concept that we will address as we go along later. And then who should learn this? Anybody who is working in the software industry can learn this Agile and Scrum, but we are identifying the roles like software engineers, developers, QA engineers, program and project managers, tech leads and architects and business analysts. These are the roles who are involved in the software development life cycle. Therefore, everybody who are working in software development life cycle, they have to learn this Agile and Scrum. Not only them, even the management has to understand what is Agile, what is Scrum, because it all depending on the support and guidance given by the management of the organization. Therefore, like when they are talking about the implementation of Agile, let us say, for example, like Salesforce.com, I mentioned that, and they had a team which starts from the very CEO of the organization. He is the chairman of the committee. Actually, they form a committee, and in that committee, the top management person will be the leader of the committee, and they will study the Agile and Scrum implementation, and they will go through this process, and they will analyze, and they will give support. Therefore, this Agile and Scrum is not, it is actually enterprise-wide level collaborative. It is not only the team, like a technical team is only involved, or even the business team is involved, not like that. Everybody in the organization should be know the transformation. That's why it's called a transformation. It is not a kind of a change process, or it is a kind of a replacement, or it is kind of a not of add-on. It is a transformation. Whenever any organizations want to implement Agile or Scrum, they go the process of a transformation. How the transformation can be done without the top of the organizations, that they also should be involved in this, in the decision making or the vision document. That is one of the primary thing in the primary level when you talk about the Scrum. That is a vision. In the vision making, at organization level, vision has to be designed. Who designed the vision? It is like a top level management of the organization, like a CEO or CTO or the chairman of the organization or management director of the organization. They are leading this effort in the organization. Then only they can get the result from this transformation. Therefore, this is a transformation. Everybody, whoever is working in the software development life cycle, they have to learn this process, okay? Because everybody has to work in a collaborative way. It is, again, initially I was speaking about, it is a thought process. It is a thinking. It is not just a kind of making some documentation or making some kind of a process engineering. It is beyond that. It is a thought process. And how this Agile or Scrum can be done, every organization has their own way of doing it. There are a lot of models are available to implement, even though there are a lot of strict rules are there, but it can be customized up to the level of the organization, how they want to implement in stages. Okay, that also can be done. Okay. Then we are going to talk about the career development. See, whatever we learn today, like technology or, okay, then just hold on. Yeah, this is a prerequisite. What they should know to learn this Agile and Scrum, like as I told you in the previous, everybody can learn it. Okay, therefore, what they should be knowing before knowing this Scrum and Agile. Agile and Scrum is, but it is a kind of a transformed software development lifecycle process. Therefore, now when you talk about this, the resources who are going to work on this, they should have a very thorough knowledge and practical understanding of software development lifecycle. What is a software development lifecycle? It is the waterfall or V model or iterative model or rapid application development. These are the models available as of today. Therefore, they have to know what is the framework for a software development lifecycle. Okay, and then they should have how the projects are done. What is the project planning, project estimation, and how the project is delivered within that, and what is the release planning? Because as I told you in the beginning also, in the Scrum we are having 5 levels of release planning work. Therefore, how we are going to make a releases? What is the meaning of release? That they should have a kind of a knowledge, maybe theoretically or maybe doing a release management processes and all those things like. Therefore, they should know what is release, what is the estimation. Here we are going to talk about a different type of estimation, but they should have a very good understanding of estimation, like a function point methods or any other estimation process. They should have a kind of a very good practical knowledge on estimation. And then experience in technology. This is a de facto standard. Any technology, let us take for example, in the case of .NET of Microsoft technology, or similarly in the database, they should have a very good knowledge and practical experience on database technology, development technology, application lifecycle management, and similarly for a testing. For a testing also manual as well as automation, and also testing is very critical in the Agile methods. Therefore, they should have a kind of very good understanding on testing, not only manual testing, using automation testing, and like there are a lot of different new type of testing are implemented in this process of Scrum. Like for example, like exploratory testing and test what you call test first. That is a concept is used. Like there are a lot of type of test methods are there, or a test process has to be implemented in the Agile. Therefore, they should have a very good experience on testing. Beyond manual, they should have a knowledge on using the automation test tools, because automation testing is very important, very critical in the Scrum, because it has to be done in a faster delivery cycle is very faster. Therefore, they should be more agile, especially for a testing resource should be more agile to learn the new technology or new domain knowledge, and they must be able to implement it in very fast. Okay. And then a business analyst. Even business analysts also, they are going to work with the development team. They are the leader of this. Leader means they are the owner. The business analysts are going to be owner of the Scrum team. Therefore, their role becomes a little different. Their responsibility becomes a little different. Therefore, like the business analyst also should understand then how to identify the requirements, with how to make the requirements in a simple form. That is, the requirements are called here as product backlog, user stories. All these things they should be able to understand. Means the business analysts, they must know what is the product backlog, what is the story, user stories, how to convert the requirement to product backlog, and how to convert the requirement into the user stories. And then the team is going to work in the incremental iteration. Therefore, how to plan the iteration. What is the need of iteration? Means like how we will make, you are going to make in multiple sprints. Okay, sprint 1, sprint 2, sprint 3. How you will identify based on what? That is the business value. Therefore, what is the business value of each requirement? They must be able to prioritize the business requirements. That is a very critical knowledge they should have on their side. Therefore, business analyst as well as the technical team working together with the help of a Scrum Master. What is a Scrum Master? He is a kind of a coach. He is a mentor for the process. The Scrum Master is also having a very critical role in this process. Therefore, like who will become a Scrum Master? He should have a knowledge of all these processes like SDLC, and he should be very thorough in this Agile and Scrum. What is involved, because there are a lot of metrics to be collected during this process. What are the metrics? How to define? How to collect? How to help the team to achieve the result? Okay, that becomes the responsibility of a Scrum Master or Agile coach. Therefore, all these roles are new here. Therefore, to play this new role, they should have a kind of a very good experience on the current SDLC processes and development project, working in the development projects. Okay, that is what the basic requirement for going through this training and implementing the projects. And as the career, this definitive differentiator, I'm using the word here. See, today everywhere we talk about the differentiation. Okay, means we must be able to make some differentiation, like how the differentiation can be. I'm talking about the resources here. Means like the employees or resources we are working in the projects. How everybody should be different. Everybody should be different. Everybody is able to work well, but everybody must be able to contribute differentially for the organization or for the projects what they are working. How they become more differentiated? By learning this Agile and Scrum, it makes them to become differentiator for their career path. Okay, therefore, this differentiation can be done in all the levels, like not only for the developers, not only for the testers, business analysts, technical, project, test leads, or architects. Everybody has to play a role with differentiation in their projects. Therefore, that is going to help them for their career growth. Means today somebody is working as a developer. By going through this Agile and Scrum, he can become a Scrum Master. Or even, for example, a test engineer, he can become a Scrum Master. Therefore, now, when you call it a Scrum Master, it is a kind of a leading role. It is a kind of mentoring role in this Agile and Scrum. Therefore, he can become a Scrum Master. How to become a Scrum Master? He must be able to differentiate himself. First of all, knowing these concepts well, and then how to implement that concept over the organizations. Okay. Therefore, that kind of a role he can play by undergoing this kind of a training.
Raman, I think the content that you're presenting is absolutely relevant, and the points that you're making is going in the right direction. I just wanted to quickly check on the timing. We are almost towards the end of it, and we have not finished the PowerPoint, and then there are questions that the audience will typically have. In fact, I, on behalf of the audience, also would like to have an opportunity to ask a lot of questions. So let us go to the slides. I'm sure the message is getting passed, but we need to cut our slides for no more than 1 minute going forward, so that we could come to question and answer, which is very critical.
Okay. Yeah, the further slides are actually, it is self-explanatory, how this helps for your increasing your salary is a market survey, and it has been done by some of the organizations. They have done actually a survey they carried about over the globe, different organizations they went through, and based on that, the survey result, I'm just I'm presenting the result of the survey in a simple way, so that what is the point here, it helps you for your salary growth. Okay, annual salary can be, you can, as I told you in the differentiator, that differentiation helps you to get extra dollars. That is what I'm communicating here. And okay, this is what we are going to learn in our training. These are the bullet points. Like as I told you, like we are going to talk about product backlog, user story, sprint backlog, collaboration, and all these things, like what is the role of a Scrum Master, what is the role of a product owner, what is the team, and how you are going to estimate, and what is the concept of done. That is a very key word here that we are going to learn in our training program, and release planning, sprint planning, and daily stand-up meeting. These are the very specific terms used in Scrum. that we are going to see detailed concepts as well as the practical exposure during our training. Okay, this we have already seen that. And this is what the detailed sessions what we will be having in our training. First, we are going to introduce the software development lifecycle, all those things like, and this also self-explanatory. Now we can start with the question and answers. Yeah, I'm ready. I'm open for you. Karthik, we can start with question and answers.
So I'm sure we've covered some of the prerequisites. While audience, you prepare to put your questions through the chat. I wanted to take this opportunity. Shivaraman, thank you so much for giving that knowledge, giving the idea of what Agile and Scrum is all about. For a beginner who is seeking to add this to their profile, I'm sure one of the primary reasons is when we do a job hunt or when we're working on projects, we get asked frequently, have you worked in this environment of Agile and Scrum? And I'm sure that the number one reason that participants are interested to add that to the profile is because it is being asked for in today's IT industry. So, for example, there could be someone who's absolutely new into IT, who's making a switch, who's probably preferred to come in through the testing route, becoming QA engineer, but may not have extensive experience of what an SDLC is or how the different estimation models work and so on. Will they still be able to attend this training and get the skill or knowledge that is required to go to the interviews and say, yes, I know what Agile is, I know what Scrum is, I've worked in this environment. Right. So what I'm trying to say is, are these prerequisites mandatory, or can someone come even more basic than what you mentioned here?
Can I answer now?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Yeah. See, like it is not. See, what is the prerequisite you are talking about? They should have experience. That is what we are mentioning that. But it is not always necessary to have experience. Even for fresh engineers who are coming out, see, today a lot of IT organizations they recruit through campus interviews, because they go to the college and they're the candidates. Even for them, because they have the basic engineering knowledge, even they know what is the software development life cycle. Therefore, even they may be very good on the database technology or development platform like .NET or Java. Therefore, those candidates also can be trained on this topic, and they will become useful from the day one when they are joining in the organization or when they are working in the project.
Right, and that was my idea as well, that there may be someone who's a little bit more fresher level than someone who's worked through a lot of experience. And I would say that having these skills on their profile really adds value, is my point that I'm driving home. It is not like, for example, if I talk back in the QA world, it's not like Selenium or a QTP and so on, which basically says that you are someone strong in one area. Agile and Scrum is more like a methodology. It is basically like an art of saying that, hey, you know what, I know how to do test designs, or I know how to create use cases. I have worked in the Agile environment. That kind of a skill. By itself, Agile and Scrum may not give you the job opportunities. You can't go into the market and say, I'm an Agile or Scrum master. You may more be used for corporate trainings internally and monitoring, but it will add over to your existing profile that you have put. That is the prime point that I wanted to drive. I have a few questions from the audience. Audience, I have received a few questions earlier. If you have a question that was asked earlier and is not being shown right now in the screen, that means your question is not yet here. So please put your question in the chat again so that I can take it up. So a couple of questions from Srilata. One is how to do estimation. And again, Shivaraman, this may not be the audience or the forum for us to answer it exactly, but you could talk about how we were going to cover it as part of the training. Second is, could you give more real-time examples of Agile Scrum and show it in Notepad? This is the same answer, I would say, but you could give an overview very, very briefly to both these things, and then how you're going to cover it in the training, please.
Yeah, first let me talk about the estimation process. The estimation process is done in a different way in this Scrum projects. The point number one, the estimation is done by the team. The team is responsible for the estimation. Okay, and like for example, let me take a very simple example. Like the first point is like a product backlog. Here we don't call the requirements as requirement. What I mean to say is business requirements. They are converted as product backlog. The product backlog is a starting point from the requirement point of view. It is a simple statement, and there is a standard format what we are going to see in the training. Therefore, for example, let us take a login screen. You want to develop a application for your login screen with username and password, and the same thing will be written in the form of a product backlog first, and then the product backlog will be converted into user story. How to write a user story? There are some standard format is there how to develop a user story. User story will be done, and then product backlog is converted to user story, and then from the user story, the team will be sorting the estimation process. What they will do, they will take the user story and they will divide the user story into tasks. And before that, what is here? The user story, as I told you, the requirement is converted to product backlog. Product backlog is converted to the user story, and the estimation starts with the user story. Therefore, whenever they do the estimation, they are going to assign a kind of a story point for each story. Suppose there are about 5 stories are there. Okay, what we are going to do? We are going to compare which is bigger, which is smaller in terms of complexity, in terms of functionality, whatever the things are there. We are going to compare all the user stories. Therefore, when they start the estimation, what they will do, they will start the estimation of a very small user story, which will take only, for example, 2 days for the development. Therefore, this is going to be a starting point, a smaller story. Then they will compare, okay, this story takes the 2 story points. Therefore, what is the other story is going to be 4, or whether it is going to be 5. Like that, this way the estimation is done by the team. And the estimation process is very, that is a very, what you call, that is a starting point for the success of the iteration process. Therefore, the team is availing the estimation, but there is a learning. It is not like they do, at the first they do a kind of a product backlog, and then next comes that is called release planning. Okay, the product backlog is a part of release planning. The next level goes to sprint planning.
The audio is breaking out.
Hello.
Yeah, now it's better. Thank you.
Yeah. See, the release planning is done with the product backlog, and then the next level is the sprint planning. When you do the sprint planning, estimation is done before the sprint planning, because you have to know estimation to make the sprint. Therefore, it is done. And when you divide, at the end of the sprint also, this estimation is again reviewed at the end of each iteration or end of each sprint. Accordingly, your estimation may change, because that is what we are going to use. Another word is called velocity. One is the estimation, another one is velocity. Velocity is nothing but how many story points they will complete within a sprint. This may vary as per the team is progressing. Therefore, taking the input from the velocity, the estimation will be re-estimated for further sprints. Like that, it's a continuous process. Learning and doing goes continuously, so that you are getting the results in a successive way. Hello?
Yeah, no, sorry, I was cutting you short because, again, the idea is not to explain how the estimation is done. The idea was just to say that we will go through this in depth in the training right now, Shivram. The reason being, again, some of these questions will require practical walkthrough of how we will do it. Let me quickly move on to the next questions, please, because we have only covered 2 questions so far, and we have many more questions left. So it's common QA interview questions nowadays. I don't know which Shafiq you were referring to. Even I want to put it again. Any specific tools or automation that is used as part of the Scrum and Agile?
There are, like, for example, Jira, it is automation. It is a tool for issue management, and even like even in testing also used, even for issue management also used. Jira is having a tool for implementing a Scrum. When that tool is having a specific name, you can use the tool to do everything whatever we are doing in this Scrum. That is only the tool. Okay? Like that, there are so many tools are there for the Scrum process to implement the Scrum framework. These are one type of a tool. And
I don't think sorry, and I don't think there is anything like automation tools or anything for this process, right? It's your process automation tools that could be there, but for the overall framework, it is more like documentation and so on. Template.
Jira Agile is a tool.
Yeah.
Jira Agile is a tool used for the complete project. And beyond that, there are tools within the Scrum also. For example, like the product backlog, even that is a tool. And then burn down chart, burn up chart, velocity. These are some tools. And there are other tools which are like to collect your metrics during your project. You have to collect some metrics because that is what the improvement. Okay. For that, there are 10 metrics are collected during this project, during this sprint. What are 10 metrics? How to collect the 10 metrics? There are some open source tools are there. If collect the metrics, analyze.
Again, I'm sorry, we have hit the deadline, Shivaraman. I wished we cut short a lot of what we said today into our managed time slot. Unfortunately, we also had a slow start. So there are a few more questions that I quickly want to answer and see if I could. Can both waterfall and Scrum be used in SDLC? That's one. I'll give it to you. Who is product owner, business user or business analyst? What is the best certification for Agile Scrum Foundation? Is there any kind of a certification that a participant could take? And there are more questions, but do you want to, again, I'm not sure if we have enough time left in this session. What I will do, team, is I'm going to collate these questions. I'm going to put them together, and then I'm going to see if we could put it up offline for you, even with the video, so you can continue to ask questions and get offline help for us. What you should help me with, Shivaraman, later is once we forward these questions to you, if you could answer them briefly in the as a text response, that will be great as well.
Okay, we can do that. And see, who is the product owner? It depends, of course, on the project. And this is a role. Product owner is a role, and he is going to give direct the team to to prioritize the work. Means like I told you the user stories. How to prioritize the user stories? That is going to be product owner is responsible for the prioritizing the requirements or prioritizing the user stories. Number one, and number two, at the end of the sprint, he is going to approve the results. What comes out of the.
Sorry, Shivaraman, I have to cut you short again. We are out of time. There's other sessions that are lined up right after, so we really cannot extend this right now. So let's take it offline. Please, these questions, answer them and send it across. Otherwise, I mean, we're not doing justice by giving a very brief, quick answer to it. So let's continue to put it up there. I'm going to post this video up for everyone to view. Along with that, if there are questions that are unanswered, we could continue to take them because there are a bunch of questions that are coming up. I just want to make sure that we are covering from everyone's perspective. So let's take it that way, and then we'll get into the next steps.
Okay.
So on behalf of both IT Learn and Shivaraman and myself, Karthik, thank you all for joining. Appreciate it. We will see you in another session similar to this in the future. Meanwhile, once again, sorry that we had to have a start which was delayed, but hopefully we covered as to what we wanted to say as part of what Scrum and Agile is overall and how it could really boost your career to the next level. So we will look forward to continuing this interaction offline, and we'll see you in the next session. Thank you all. Bye then. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Shivaraman.